Welcome to the dramatic extramarital stories. It's interesting to note that more than 90% of our viewers engage with our videos without having subscribed yet. If you find these tales captivating and wish to explore further, be sure to click that subscribe button and enable notifications. It takes just a moment, and it enables us to craft even more incredible content for you. Hello, my name is Sarah. I have a burden I've held on to for quite a while, a secret I've kept to myself. Discussing this isn't simple, yet I believe the moment has come. This might provide me with clarity, or perhaps it will simply offer some sense of resolution. Regardless of the circumstances, I sense a strong urge to express my authentic self. I wish to share my journey, the events that unfolded, the lessons I gleaned, and the transformation I underwent. Indeed, life often takes unexpected turns. It's hard to believe I find myself here, sharing this tale. I never imagined this would be my reality, yet here I find myself. A few years back, my husband, Mark, embarked on a new professional journey. He was a diligent individual, consistently dedicated to his profession. We enjoyed a cozy existence, a place to call our own, and a familiar rhythm to our days. Yet there are moments when that routine can seem, a bit too cozy, you know? The enthusiasm diminishes. The flame that used to flicker with intensity has dimmed significantly. I hold no resentment towards him. He wasn't to blame. In truth, there was no blame to assign. Life simply evolves. As you evolve, so do your connections, often without your awareness of the transformation taking place. Initially, I overlooked the amount of time Mark was dedicating to his job. He often returned home late, dedicated weekends to work, and occasionally embarked on business trips. It was the position he had always aspired to, after all. He was pursuing his passion, and I was there to back him up. Yet it has abandoned me in this solitude. My days would be occupied with running errands, indulging in hobbies, and perhaps doing a little cleaning. Yet there are limits to what one can achieve alone, day after day. At that moment, I was unaware, but I was slowly drifting into a state of loneliness. It was at that moment I encountered Derek. Derek resided in the neighboring house. Our conversations had occurred on several occasions prior. Friendly greetings and light chatter across the boundary. He exuded warmth, was laid back, and consistently wore a cheerful expression. As Mark's extended hours turned into weeks, I found myself engaging in deeper discussions with Derek. Initially, he posed no danger. He was simply present, a companion for conversation. He had a knack for listening, and I discovered that I relished our conversations more than I cared to acknowledge. At times, we would discuss the small details, the shifting weather patterns, and the transformation of the neighborhood. At times, we would engage in conversations about existence. He faced his own challenges, and I faced mine. Our connection ran deep, a comprehension that eluded my full understanding until time revealed its layers. One evening, following yet another lengthy day spent in solitude, I found myself perched on the porch alongside Derek. The week had dragged on, and the solitude felt more burdensome than ever. Our conversation meandered through a myriad of topics, touching on both the profound and the trivial. Suddenly, Derek uttered something that completely surprised me. He inquired about my well-being, not merely the superficial, casual, "How are you?" but with a genuine concern that suggested he could perceive something more profound beneath the surface. For the first time in ages, I found myself being truthful with him. "I'm not all right," I expressed. "At times, I sense a lack of presence. This routine is making me feel as though I'm losing my sense of self. I find myself lost in a haze of uncertainty about my identity." Derek remained silent initially. He simply listened, and for some reason that brought me a sense of comfort, as if someone truly grasped it. However, the situation became more complex. In the weeks that followed, Derek and I began to share more moments together. We would sip coffee in the mornings, engage in lively conversations in the evenings, or stroll through the neighborhood. Everything is appropriate. Nothing that overstepped any limits. Simply togetherness. That was my perspective, at least. Initially, I believed it posed no threat. Merely a bond of camaraderie. Yet, as I continued to share moments with Derek, I increasingly sensed a deeper understanding of myself. It truly wasn't his fault. He had no intention of taking Mark's place. He wasn't attempting to evoke emotions in me that I didn't already possess. It was simply that he paid attention. He sensed when something was amiss. He restored my sense of significance. As dusk approached, we found ourselves on his porch, observing the sky transform into a tapestry of hues. For reasons I can't quite grasp, I confided in him about my fear. Fear gripped me as I reflected on the path my life had taken. I felt a deep fear that I had lost the essence of who I once was. I felt a deep fear that if the current situation continued, I might completely lose my sense of self. Derek gazed at me, his eyes filled with warmth and empathy, and he uttered words that took me by surprise. "There's no need for fear, Sarah." He spoke in a hushed tone. "Embrace your true self. It's important to embrace a sense of self-worth, to experience joy." It was merely a straightforward statement, yet it struck me profoundly. It lacked the assurance of a promise or the clarity of a solution. It served merely as a gentle nudge, a reminder that I am worthy of more than being confined by my own fears and uncertainties. And then a moment unfolded. A moment of uncertainty enveloped me as I realized how we had arrived at this point, yet here we were, sitting so near that the air between us crackled with an undeniable energy. The dialogue came to a halt, leaving us gazing at one another in silence. My heart raced, and I understood the significance of this moment. It was a pivotal moment. I could walk away, return to my life with Mark, and attempt to mend the fractures that had emerged between us. Or I could forge ahead on this treacherous, uncharted journey with Derek. I can't quite understand why I chose to stay. Perhaps I was on a quest for something that had slipped away from me. Perhaps it was solitude. Perhaps it stemmed from a longing to experience vitality once more. Yet I chose to stay. In that instant, everything transformed. However, it turned out to be different from my expectations. It wasn't a dramatic, fervent romance. Indeed, the situation was much more intricate than it appeared. I made a decision to venture beyond the confines of my marriage, to rediscover a part of myself that had slipped away. It wasn't about him, or them, or anyone else. It centered around my experiences. Ultimately, I could no longer overlook the truth of my actions. The burden of guilt pressed heavily upon me. The embarrassment remained. I wasn't the person I aspired to become. I was not fully embracing the truth that I needed to acknowledge. I confronted my own reflection and the repercussions of my choices. I kept what happened for Mark. It was a concept that eluded simple explanation. How might I? How can I understand something that has always eluded my comprehension? Eventually, Mark observed the transformation within me. I had changed completely. I wasn't completely aloof, but I also didn't let my guard down. A section of my being had been sealed away, and I was uncertain of how to reclaim it. Mark and I attempted to reconstruct. We attended a session with a therapist. We engaged in a deep conversation, truly connecting for the first time in ages. We made an effort to reconnect, to recall the reasons that united us in the first place. It wasn't flawless. It was quite a challenge, yet it was genuine. Derek and I slowly grew distant from each other. There was no conflict or theatrical conclusion to our story. We simply ceased to share moments together. I came to understand that the bond one believed I shared with him wasn't truly about him at all. It was a journey of self-discovery, an exploration of the fragments of my past that had slipped away. Upon that realization, it became simpler to release my grip. What I'm attempting to convey is that there are moments when life leads you to unexpected destinations. Your decisions shape the trajectory of your narrative, and sometimes not in the most favorable way. However, this journey has revealed much about my own character. I've come to realize the importance of being truthful with myself, to grasp my own needs and desires. I've discovered that often the most challenging task is confronting reality, and that at times, reality can lead to restoration. Perhaps it's less about our losses and more about the lessons we gather throughout the journey. I believe that is the key point to consider.